And don't miss this next segment as we're making seared duck with Christopher Merz from Lyft, the executive chef over at the Delta Ottawa City Centre Hotel.
That's right.
All right, so we were just talking off the air. Duck is one of those things where it has to be done right, and it's something if you're going to do it at home, you need to know the right process.
Well, that's right. It's a little intimidating,
yes.
And it's quite an accessible piece of game meat right now that you can really much get anywhere.
Really?
I just find it's very intimidating to the average cook at home. So we love duck at the hotel. We had the last time I was on the show, I featured a duck taco, which we also feature in Lyft on our full menu.
Right.
But again, we just love duck so much. I'm going to show another preparation of duck, which is the duck breast.
Okay, the duck breast, and we're going to pan sear it. So what are we doing?
Well, so this is the duck breast. It's essentially, most of the time you'll buy it in frozen.
Okay.
Most of the time, now if you're lucky, there are some great suppliers here that can provide you with fresh duck breast.
All right.
But they're quite large, and again, they might be very intimidating, and price-wise as well, quite intimidating for the average cook. So again, you want to take it out. I've trimmed a little bit of the fat from the outside.
Okay.
Personally, at home, I won't take any of that off because I really savor it. So the next thing you want to do is all this silver connective tissue here.
I can see that, yeah.
You want to kind of just cut some of that away, right?
You see some of that in chicken as well. It's the same kind of thing, right?
That's right.
And so a very sharp knife, obviously, is your best friend.
Exactly. So you want to trim some of that away.
Okay.
So there you go. It's a little bit better.
Right.
As much as you want.
Okay.
Right. The more that you remove, obviously the better a chew it'll provide you.
Okay.
Right.
Good.
Sorry, when I say chew, it doesn't mean it's going to be
like
chewy.
Chewy, right?
It's gonna melt.
Right.
Now the other important thing, which a lot of people don't do, is on the other side, right? Is they don't score it. So scoring
that's
right.
I see.
You just want to go through it like this with your knife. Don't push too hard. You just want to penetrate the fat slightly.
Almost like hash marks across the back there.
Exactly that, and that enables a more equal cooking of the duck, and also it allows for that fat to render, right, to melt, and
that's what you want to do, because a lot of people say that they don't, that they try and avoid fat in meats, but that's because it hasn't rendered correctly.
That's right.
Right. So it should actually, a marbling of a beef, let's say, should actually make the beef succulent.
Absolutely.
Same with duck, I imagine.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So the next part, there's two different ways of actually getting this into the pan. One is with actually a cold pan.
Okay.
So just like if you were cooking bacon at home, really you should be throwing that bacon in cold.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And then turning it up. That's right. Otherwise, do you find, does it stick?
Yeah, it does.
Might, like a really hot pan, especially if it's a non-stick pan, it will stick.
Yeah, I've seen that happen. That's what's going on, huh?
Just put it in a cold pan.
Okay, so in the cold pan.
Now, I actually am showing a variation of that. I actually have a hot pan. And what I'm going to do, instead of seasoning the fat side, I'm just going to season this side, all right, with a little bit of salt. And I'm actually going to season this pan. All right. And
so that gives a buffer?
Exactly. It's salt. It's not sugar. It's not going to caramelize and melt. Right. So now I'm going to throw that in. There we go. So the important part here now is we really want to cook that skin side or the fat side really with a nice color before we flip it over.
Right.
And then
what's interesting is the second you threw it in, I saw the fat just reduce.
Well, it's the meat is just contracting,
okay.
right? And all proteins will do that.
Okay. And
it's a good sign. It's a sign of a fresh piece of meat.
Excellent. Okay.
So you want to cook that away probably for a couple of minutes before you turn it over. Cook it for a further couple of minutes. And then what I do...
Would you do the same time on the side with the fat as the side with just the meat?
You could go a little bit less on the side with just the meat.
Okay.
And then what I will do is I'll throw it into the oven. Again, depending on the size, probably for about 5 minutes or so.
Okay.
And what you can see, and this is the reason you don't put fat, is you can start to see the fat that's starting to render off the breast.
I can see that.
So, and that fat is, and I've said this before on the show, it's gold, right?
Yeah, it's all flavor, baby.
Exactly. The scallops I just did, if you cook them in that fat rather than olive oil,
right?
Yeah.
You'd be the hero at your dinner party.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So I'll let that sear away, and I'm going to demonstrate very quickly the vegetable side that we serve with this dish at the restaurant, and that is a parsnip puree. So parsnip is a root vegetable.
Yes.
It's really healthy. It's full of minerals and vitamins. It's a vegetable that's really dear to my heart. I lived and worked in Ireland for 4 years. I met my lovely wife there. So
you've been all over the world, in fact.
Well, I have, but it's a special vegetable with a nice little sweetness to it. That is absolutely underappreciated here in this country.
Right.
So what I've done is I've peeled it, I've boiled it, right, till it's soft to the touch.
Yes.
And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw into this pot here where I've got some cream that was boiling away, and you can see that just bubble up now.
Excellent.
All right. All
right, delicious. We have seconds left, really.
Perfect.
But that's that'll be okay. Look at that. That looks delish.
Add a little bit of butter.
Okay.
A little bit of seasoning. And again, this puree.
Spread it around.
You just puree it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
As we did before with the foam.
Do parsnips take as long as potatoes to boil?
No, they take a lot less.
A lot less time. Okay, so keep that in mind.
That's right. So on the plate, a little bit of the puree. And we're serving that with a braised red cabbage. This obviously in the restaurant will be served hot.
Of course.
But look at the beautiful color on the plate.
That is nice. I love that.
Some roasted cipollini onions. And this is the duck breast after we cooked it.
Right.
It'll look a little bit like that. Now I cooked this earlier, so it won't the internal color won't be very representative of what it should look like. But it should be very nice and pink inside.
All right. Of course, yes. That's what you're used to seeing.
And
when
you
it's
want to
done
slice it like that on an angle, nice and thin. Right, look at that. Beautiful.
Oh, that is beautiful.
And then a little bit of the sauce. And in our case, we've got a beautiful cherry sauce that we've cooked with wine and lovely other things.
That was the sauce I was pretending to do something with earlier.
And just a little
garnish
to make it fancy, and that's it.
Done. I love that. People can drop by Lift anytime, make a reservation. Probably a good idea, right?
Yeah, we've got a website, liftrestaurant.ca.
All right. Chef Christopher Merz doing great work in our kitchen today. Thank you so much for that.